Looking to score tickets to the biggest games and concerts in town? From Santana to the Doobie Brothers, Snoop Dogg, and more. Your chance to win is waiting. Enter now at KFAN.com. Keyword contest.
Couple 13-14 past. Hour number 2 begins with 5, 3, 4.
Time now for 5 questions. Well, actually 3, but 5 sounds like more than 4. Brought to you by Willow River Company. Question number 1.
We're gonna win, Twins, we're gonna score.
It's now time to delve deep into Twins territory.
Crack out a home run, shout a hit, hooray! Cheer for the Minnesota Twins today.
Joe Ryan became the first pitcher in Twins history to give up 6 home runs in a game as Minnesota lost 13-4 last night in Cleveland. After climbing to 500 on Friday, the Twins have now lost 3 straight. Ryan became the 12th pitcher in MLB history to give up a record 6 homers in a game. Comment on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being Muhammad Ali and 1 being Terrified Tenna. What is your confidence level in Joe Ryan moving forward?
I think I'm at Terrified Tenna level, and I apologize for selling all that hope about the Twins. Past couple of weeks I've been saying, I know it's weak American League and weak Central, but boy, their offense, the numbers were there. Statistically, nobody was better with runners in scoring position. Nobody in all of baseball, not just the American League, all of baseball, if I'm not mistaken. So, getting surprise performances out of several guys offensively. Clemens, is it Kreidler, and Larnach, and, when he was healthy, and he has been most of the year. Buxton, Lewis has been hitting the ball better. Jefferson C. came back from injuries, is knocking the ball around the park, and starting pitching had been good. Zebby was good. Joe Ryan was good up until his last outing, and, Ober's been fine, and it's, what's his name? Prelip. And then, I was all excited. I think the Twins they're gonna be buyers because, Tom Pohlad knows that they got to mend the fences between the fans and the organization, particularly the family itself, and this is going to do it. And now it's like, now we're hearing that, they're probably going to be sellers now. I hope not. I mean, because, Timmy, you brought this up the other day. So let's say all of a sudden, let's say they lose, let's say they go in a real tailspin. They pull like Gary Lewis in the Jayhawks, go into a tailspin and lose like their next 6. They lose 9 in a row. So it's over. Okay, it's over. Well, that doesn't mean you don't need Joe Ryan next year. You won't need Byron Buxton next year. You won't need whoever else next year. I mean, there is always next year. So why would you, and I know you're going to have to, reconnoiter things a little bit, but you don't just dump your very best players to get more prospects. So I would, even if they're not buyers, I just hope they're not sellers and just start selling off their best assets, because they did that last year with the bullpen, and I think they did get some. It seems like they've gotten some guys that might be able to help the big club eventually, but I don't want them to be. That would sends the wrong message. Your thoughts on the Twins and where they're headed and selling and buying and the whole thing?
I feel like they're I think the Pohlads here are in a tough spot. I think it would be in their best interest to be good enough where it's easy to sell, easy to say, hey, we can be buyers, or bad enough where you can send off Joe Ryan and no one's going to blink an eye too badly about it, right?
Yeah.
But now they're kind of in this this middle spot where if you add, it's still probably not going to be enough. But you're close enough or in the mix that if you sell it all, people are going to go crazy, especially with all the selling you've done the last couple of years.
Yep.
So I think this is probably, from a PR standpoint, going to be a worst case scenario here for what the Pohlads would like to do with this team.
Yeah. Well, again, even if you're not buyers, just don't be sellers with your best pieces. That's what I think, because now, again, we don't know what Joe Ryan's thinking. What is he under contract for? 1 more year, or is this it? I don't remember.
No, he's still under contract for at least another year.
Okay.
But
so then
the time to get paid is
right now. I mean, because where does, what I don't know is he hasn't been shy about expressing his disappointment with the franchise on a couple of different occasions, particularly when they traded.
He's a UFA in 2028.
Okay.
So next year would be his last year under contract.
He wasn't real happy when they got rid of Sonny Gray. He and Lopez both made it known. Man, we think Lopez is going to have a complete recovery and be ready for next year. Buxton has declared on a number of occasions he wants to end his career here. He has expressed no antsiness, any desire for his contract to expire or to want to retire. He wants to play it out here. But you don't know if all of a sudden, your mind you can be persuaded. You can change your mind, not by so much by people, but by results. So if all of a sudden Ryan's like, this just isn't getting any better, and I'm an all-star pitcher, and I want to pitch in big games in postseason. I don't want to be playing out the string every September and early October where I'm just out there throwing pitches for no reason. And maybe Buxton finally he starts to think, maybe I'm having second thoughts about that. I'd like to play in some postseason games too. And then Royce Lewis, who's probably really in no position right now to be making demands, but he might be thinking, and everybody might start thinking that way. So, yeah, that's probably part of it. If the team doesn't show any type of resilience and some bounce back ability this season, you could have guys that just basically say we want out, and it's too bad, that because didn't they win the first game coming out of the All-Star break? They
did,
and it was a nice win too. And you're thinking, here we go,
and they were red hot going into the All-Star break.
And then all of a sudden they lose 2 to the Cubs, and then there's the beat down of the Guardians.
Well, a couple of bad pitching performances from Joe Ryan and Zebby.
Yeah, and then the beat down.
Some bad defense too.
Yeah, and then the beat down, and it's not good right now. Yeah, we'll see what happens.
Question number 2. It's time now for a look at the Lynx.
Lynx won again. They won 105-102 last night in Seattle. Kayla McBride recorded her 7th consecutive game, scoring 20-plus points. She gave a team high 33. Olivia Miles put up 32 points, 8 assists, and 8 rebounds. Common, what sticks out to you from yet another Lynx win?
All we do is win. This is a team that apparently they probably don't really like playing these regular season games either, because they know they're going to the playoffs. But you know what? They'll go ahead and put forth the effort anyways, unlike their counterparts in the NBA.
Well, actually, their defensive effort hasn't been as good lately, but they're still good enough offensively that they've overcome it.
So, in other words, all they do is win, basically. Yeah. So, I just when does the season? I don't even know. I don't keep track. I mean, we still have a lot of regular season to go, or it seems like
I feel like they usually go through August.
Okay. Well, again,
September 24th, so we got a long way to go.
Long way to go. Well, and then, barring major injuries or another, speaking of the tailspin of the Gary Lewis and the Jayhawks, they're headed to the postseason.
17 games to go.
Yeah, just postseason play. That's all we're worried about with them. There's nothing that would lead me to believe in the way they play, except, like you say, maybe the defense is a little lack of urgency, or maybe a little lack of effort. I don't know. Maybe that's just the way all basketball is. That's what everybody wants to do. All the basketball community says the Wolves aren't the only ones. Why don't they all play defense? But it's human nature, this and that. But I don't have any concerns with the Lynx being able to.
It'll be interesting to see how MB Fee, when she comes back, how she ingratiates her way in. Because they've kind of, Olivia Miles dominating the ball and hitting up Kayla McBride is this great spot up shooter. It's been working pretty good for him, and Fee's got a little bit different style of play. So she's one of the best in the world, so I'm sure they'll be fine.
But it's something to watch.
Should be interesting to see if the style of the play of the team changes at all.
Question number 3.
All Vikings, let's win this game. You'll hear us yell for more.
It's now time to take an in-depth look at the state of the Skull.
We are 8 days away from the Vikings' first training camp practice. The Star Tribune today broke down 3 key positions entering camp. They have quarterback, edge rusher, and safety. Common, are those the 3 positions you will be focused on during Vikings training camp?
And you know what? They just happen to be, probably other than left tackle, the 3 most important positions on a team. And so when you have question marks on those, it's really not a good sign.
No!
Yeah, quarterback first and foremost. Obviously, the edge rusher position, we need to get somebody that can rush the quarterback on a. You need a Hutchinson kind of a guy. You're probably not going to get anybody that good. Or who's the guy for Green Bay?
Micah Parsons.
Micah Parsons. You're not going to get that, but you need somebody that can at least kind of approach that. And I don't know if we have that. Dallas Turner, is he going to kind of be one of our pass rushers? And the guy with the boot, walking boot. And then is he considered?
Caleb Banks.
Yeah.
He's an interior.
So he's interior.
Yeah.
But we still think he can get to the quarterback, right? I don't know. You tell me. And then the safety, we still don't know if I think Hitman's coming back. But again, is Hitman? Yeah, is he every play, every down guy anymore now, or would he be? I don't know, but it'd be great if he came back.
Seems like he was last year.
Yeah, it'd be great if he came back. And then what was the other position?
Well, edge rusher, quarterback, and safety.
Yeah, so I don't know. Those are three of the most important positions. So they need to be settled.
I think it's going to be quarterback and then a massive gap down before you get to the next important position.
Yeah, I would say
the quarterback conversation is going to be nonstop.
That's correct.
And that's it for today's edition of 5 Questions. Well, actually 3 questions, but 5 sounds like more than 4.
Brought to you by the Willow River Company. They are your outdoor living experts. I love them. I think you will too. Irrigation maintenance, they'll install. They'll start it up in the spring and wrap it up for you in the fall. Ongoing plant bed maintenance. They have their elite lawn care program. They'll do mowing and yard cleanup, and during the winter season, they don't shut the doors. They'll do snow removal, snow plowing for you, and holiday lighting as well. Family-owned operation. They treat you like family. Become part of the family. Reach out today. They're your outdoor living experts. It's the Willow River Company. WillowRiverCompany.com. That's WillowRiverCompany.com.
The Common Man.
You'll be the first one to admit that your time is coming.
Want to chime in on what's happening with your favorite KFAN program? Make your voice heard on the Bradshaw and Bryant text line. Let us know what you have to say by texting your message to 64686. That's 64686. Standard message and data rates apply.
Andy Marchand writes for The Athletic. He has a story today. Reads Carl Ravitch, one of ESPN's most prominent on-air voices for more than 3 decades, and NFL insider Tom Pelissero were laid off as part of the network's latest round of cuts. According to sources briefed on the moves, the layoffs are the first since ESPN finalized its acquisition of NFL Network in January, and most of the dismissals were expected to take place at NFL Network with a large contingent behind the scenes, according to the sources, who spoke on the condition of anonymity to discuss a sensitive matter. ESPN purchased NFL Network as part of a series of agreements that gave the league a 10% stake in the network. ESPN has spent the past 6 months sorting out how to make all of the pieces from its bases in Bristol and New York coordinate with NFL Network's LA operation. In an internal memo Tuesday, ESPN chairman Jimmy Pitaro said the network has, quote, made significant progress integrating the NFL assets that we acquired into ESPN. While most of the job impacts are tied to the acquisition, we will also notify colleagues in other parts of the company today that their positions have been impacted. On Monday, ESPN laid off NFL analyst Ryan Clark as part of the cuts. ESPN declined to comment. Also,
they did it in the middle of the show, apparently, too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
ESPN is also expected to sever ties with former NFL MVP Cam Newton, longtime SportsCenter stalwart David Lloyd, injury expert Stefania Bell. Yeah. Former All-Pro linebacker and talk show host Bart Scott, and NFL Network analyst Charles Davis. News of the Bell, Lloyd, and Scott layoffs were first reported by Front Office Sports. Outkick initially mentioned the Newton decision. It's happened here at iHeart, happened here at ESPN. It happens all over the country, and not just in broadcasting. People are downsizing. You know what it is, Tim? It's called getting leaner, more productive. Pellicero's one of us. He's originally from the Twin Cities.
Started on the station.
Yeah, I think I mentioned before that I worked for his dad. His dad worked with Tom Moore, and they used to run. They were running Cool 108 before it was Cool 108. It was just an Anoka FM station. They're basically, if you ever listen to Cool 108, they do the legal ID where you have to say where your city of license is. Anoka, Minneapolis, St. Paul, because that's where their city of license is in Anoka. And they ran that. That was back when it was just a local place. It was, I think it was called K-Twin at the time, KTWN. And then they sold the place, and I worked for him. His dad was running a place where I'd go in at 1 o'clock in the afternoon to a place, some warehouse in Minneapolis, and I would take music. This is how antiquated now that these delivery systems are. It was Muzak, basically, right, that you hear playing in office buildings or whatever the case may be, atriums, elevators. I would take the music off a CD and dub it onto reel-to-reel tapes. And then we would take those tapes and ship them out to whoever it was. And that's what I did. I would do that for 4 hours a day from 1 until 5, over and over and over and over again. But yeah, Tom, made a hell of a career, right? I mean, from starting here at the Fan. Did he work for Hubbard for a while too?
Yes.
And then from there, then he went on. All of a sudden, next thing you know, you're on TV. You're an ESPN insider guy with a golden Rolodex. I would think he shouldn't have any trouble finding work somewhere. I don't know about some of the other guys. The Ravitch guy's 61 now. There's, even though no one admits it, there is ageism, right? It does exist. It's kind of now, these businesses seem to be lean toward the hip now with it and wow kind of guys, social media following, influencers, which is probably smart. I'm not saying it's a bad decision, but I would think Pellicero would catch on. But then again, where does he go? If everybody else already has your insider, like, who are the other NFL insiders? And they work for...
Well, Schefter and Ian Rappaport are both still at ESPN.
So they're with ESPN.
Yeah.
So those two, so you had...
Because Rappaport was with Pellicero at NFL Network.
Okay.
And then when ESPN came to this agreement with the NFL, apparently they're like, well, we don't need this many insiders, apparently. But it's unfortunate. He does great work.
Yeah.
Just... unlucky.
Well, like I say, maybe he'll get an insider job somewhere else. I don't know if
there's always places like the Athletic or something like that.
Yeah, the Athletic could be hiring.
I don't know what the pay is comparison or not.
That's it. Well, yeah, worst case, maybe he'll work somewhere where even if it's not one of the big national places, I think he'll have to find a place. But yeah, so there you go. We were talking Tenneby about Ant and the LeBron thing is still up in the air. Where is he going to play? I'd like to know, when is he going to make his decision? I don't think anybody knows that. You would think it would be sometime soon. But I saw where Ant was at what did you call it? Fanatics?
It's like Fanatics Fest.
And what is it? Do you know what?
Don't ask me what Fanatics Fest is.
Fanatics Fest is. I think it's one of those.
All I know is they have like podcasts, and that's where a lot of this new stuff's coming out because they're doing like podcasts on site.
So Chris Hine writes for Fish Wrap Factory West Side. Says Anthony Edwards says the Timberwolves aren't. This is from the 19th. Is today the 21st? So this would have been Sunday. This first appeared. I was out yesterday. Aren't among LeBron James's top 3 choices. Edwards said Friday he has seen James's top 3 list, and the Wolves are not on it. No! So it says Edwards and James had appearances in the same event in New York City this week, Fanatics Fest. Edwards was talking to ESPN during the event with Kevin Nagandi. Has Kevin still got his job, or did he get laid off?
As far as I know.
As far as I know, he's still working for him. He asked Edwards what he thought of the Wolves being on James' short list of teams, which reportedly has 5 teams on it. Edwards said, I have nothing to say about it because I've seen his top 3 teams and we not in it. I've seen it, we not in it. And if that is indeed true, it was speculated in here that maybe it's one of those, maybe he's just trying to, throw people for a loop, right? In other words, because everybody's wanting to guess him, and just say you're not on the list anymore. Tell them I'm not on the list, or that, it's a way to throw people off the trail, which I don't know if that's, if there to me, there would be no reason to do that. And Ant may have really seen a list. Maybe LeBron and his team didn't want that getting out, but didn't say anything to Ant, and Ant just said, I saw the list, we're not on it. I would think, it's like losing the sweepstakes, right? It's everybody wants LeBron. There's, was there 30 or 32 teams in the NBA? I think it's 30. Well, we know he ain't playing for the Lakers because he's leaving. And then there's going to be probably, 10, 12, 15 other teams that he wouldn't have even considered playing for. Then there's others that haven't even been talked about that I suppose could, but I doubt it's probably, if there are those 3 teams still on, let's say it is a 3-team list. Cleveland, Miami, Golden State, Cleveland, Miami, Philly, Cleveland, Miami. One of them is the odd man out, maybe Golden State. I've always felt Golden State because I think these guys, they have their peers, and if there's a peer in this league, I'm not talking about right now in the here and now. James isn't the best player in basketball right now. He's not. There's 10, 15, 20 guys that are probably game in and game out better than he is right now because he's 42 years old. But he's of the players playing right now. He's currently the greatest. That has had the best career of all of them. The only guy really close to him, I believe, would be Steph. Steph's got 4 championships. Nobody shoots like Steph. He's the best 3-point shooter probably in the history of the game. There's others that are close to that, but those are the 2. And I just feel like this. I'm sure they're pals. They like to golf, and you do let's show these young kids what it's all about. Now that could be, if he really does want to win a title, they say Minnesota's a better place. A better place to be because he doesn't have to shoulder the scoring burden, the rebounding burden, the defensive burden because of the current makeup of the Wolves roster. But as I said to you last week, well, yeah, but does he really want to just be considered, well, they didn't even need him to win. Yeah, he won a title, but that's title chasing, right? When you're just going to a team, because they said he's not chasing a title. That's not what he's doing. Well, if you go to a team like the Wolves, if you really believe that they're that stocked and that's all they need and they win, well, then it's like he's almost, I'm not going to say he's a 5th wheel, maybe a 3rd wheel on the club, and I don't know if that's what he wants. And does he go back to Cleveland because it's a great story where it all started, his hometown, or does he go back to Miami, or would he like to be with Philly? I still think Golden State's the best option. But if you
I think he's going to Cleveland.
Yeah, that could be. I still think I'm going to go with Golden State. You'll go with Cleveland.
Yeah.
And I suppose there's still holding out hope for Minnesota, but I don't know if Ant really saw a list or not. But that's what he said. Let's pause. Come back. Another segment to kill, literally and figuratively, and then we'll welcome Mark Rosen into the conversation. Yeah, that program on the Fan.
The Common Man.
It's the same damn thing every time.
It never lets you down.
Weekdays at noon on The Fan.
Or actually,
13:14 past. I'm Common. He's Tennessee. I'm reminded, Tennessee, I think the Athletic is looking for an NFL insider, right? Diana.
Yeah.
Rossini doesn't work there anymore. My guess is it'll be announced that Tom Pelissero will be working for the Athletic. That's going to be my prediction. The Athletic.
What's that?
Oh, seriously? It's an online website that does sports is your whole life, just sports. It was it's now owned by the people that own the New York Times. I think 2 guys came up with the idea. It blossomed, and then they sold it to the New York Times for what I would guess is hundreds of millions of dollars. And it has some of the best writers in the world, or the country, writing sports. I saw where, speaking of the Athletic, Vic Tafur, or Tafur, T-A-F-U-R, I don't know how to say his name. He wrote a piece, NFL over-under win totals, predictions and best bets for all 30 teams in 2026. Here are the highly anticipated picks for every team's win-loss over and under with the 6 best bets. All betting lines from BetMGM are as of the time the pick was made and subject to change. That's what he says. Who do you think he thinks is the best bet for the over-under to be? He just says best bets, then he has the team listed.
I mean, it's hard to know without knowing all the over-unders for all the teams.
This is 10.5. Over 10.5 is the number. He has the Detroit Lions.
Well,
there's been a lot of talk the past 2 years about the Lions window closing, and maybe it is. But there are reasons to be excited about this window. They threw play caller John Morton out of it. Receiver Jamison Williams is poised to put up bigger numbers for the 3rd straight year. As coaches and insiders say, he has had his best offseason. Detroit's defense is better than you think it is, as it can stop the run and the pass rush has improved. As shocking as the scandal surrounding Terrion Arnold is, the 2024 first-round pick had not played that well, and the Lions could be better without him. Their schedule looks like a vacation resort brochure as they face the NFC South Jets, Cards, Dolphins, and Titans after finishing 4th in the NFC North last season. He thinks they're one of the 6 best bets. Over under 10, do you take the over or the under with the Kitties at 10.5?
Well, I actually talked about this with Max yesterday.
Oh, you did?
That not that specific over under, but that Kevin Seifert had a tweet yesterday using ESPN analytics, and the chances of winning the NFC North per ESPN analytics: Lions were first at 38%, Packers at 33%, Bears at 19%, and Vikings at 10%. And as I said with Max, that's kind of how I view the division. I feel like a lot of people like to look at last year's record and go, well, because the Bears won last year, they're the favorites this year. They got young players. But, schedules are different. Their luck factor is probably going to be different. Their health is probably going to be different. And I still look at the Lions out of every team in the division as having the most high-end talent.
That's interesting.
So I would pick the Lions to win the division.
Maybe it's because I know my theory on pessimism and optimism. While I don't think the window is completely closed, I just like what the Bears do. I guess I'm in love with Caleb Williams. I'm in love with Johnny Kane, and I'm not the only one. And I'm in love with Caleb Williams, and I dismiss the idea that losing Ben Johnson was going to affect the Lions in as negative a way as it did. And I don't know if it's all Ben Johnson leaving or not. And I did not expect that big of a jump by the Bears. And I know there was a lot of extenuating circumstances. The Bears on a couple occasions got some lucky breaks and they got some bounces that went their way. But I like the way Williams, his first year under Eberflus was not good. He looked like, wow, this guy's got a long way to go. And I'm not saying he's a finished product by any stretch of the imagination. But I do believe that he made some big strides last year. We got some young receivers. Their offensive line, they retooled it last year. I think their defense is pretty good. I would still put the Bears as the favorite. But I would, and I would say Packers. And maybe this is I don't want to write off the Packers because as soon as I write them off, you know how it is, Green Bay, we hate them here and all that. The only way I see the Vikings really being a factor is if whoever the quarterback is, and I think it's going to be Murray, he rebounds and has the kind of year he's had in the past where he's really good. He's got to be able to, if he can run and pass and they can get a decent run game, a lot of ifs. But I think the quarterback play, if he can return to how he's capable of playing or has in the past, I think the Vikings could be in the mix.
I think any team in the division could win it.
Yeah.
Right. It's not some of those other divisions like, well, that team has no chance or this team has no chance. I think all 4 of them, whoever wins, I would not be surprised to see that team win. The Packers, it's, when they got Micah Parsons last year, they all of a sudden had elite defense and could win a big game. It's hard with injuries because we still don't really know. It sounds like he's going to miss the beginning of the season. And when he does come back, how long is it going to take him to be 100%? If he was fully healthy, I'd give the Packers a look in this division. But because he's going to be out for a certain stretch, and like I said, we don't know his effectiveness when he comes back, I wouldn't put him as the top team.
Oh my gosh.
Above average at that.
Of the 6 best bets, number 2 on the list, Patriots under 10.5. Under 10.5. He says, I do not know what to expect from A.J. Brown, and anybody who says they do is lying. I do know this. The Pats' schedule's a lot tougher than it was last year.
Yeah.
Diggs and Lebron, how do you say his last name?
Is it Thibodeau?
No, Chason.
Oh,
LeChason will be missed, and left tackle Will Campbell has a huge target on his jersey now. Next best bet, Bengals under 10.5. We interrupt all the buzzing about the bounce-back Bengals to ask a quick question. When was the last time they won more than 9 games? It was back in 2022. Burrow's indeed back. He's great. Yada, yada, yada. And the defense can't be as bad as it was last year. Well, maybe the secondary can. And the linebackers. It's still on Burrow, Chase, and Higgins. And they've been good for 9 wins per season as of late.
I feel like the Bengals are the wild card in that division. I don't know what to expect out of that team.
Titans under 6.5. Giants over 7.5.
I would take that.
You would take that?
Yes.
What do you like about the Giants? Is it the coach mostly, or?
Well, I think the coaching change is going to be huge. John Harbaugh,
huge.
He 20-some years he was a head coach for Baltimore, and they were a perennial contender every year. Now he ain't got Lamar Jackson anymore, but I feel like they've been building a little bit. I'm not convinced Jackson Dart's the guy, but at least they've built stuff around him to give him a better chance to succeed now. They really addressed their offensive and defensive line in the offseason. They've got some skill position talent that's a little bit better around the quarterback position. So I think just the coaching change alone is going to give them an upgrade.
In the final top 6 of the over-unders, your soon-to-be big game world champion Minnesota Vikings under 8.5.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Above average at that.
This guy's lost all his credibility now. Here's what he writes. Kyler Murray's poised to have an MVP-type season under Kevin O'Connell. I swear I read that somewhere, and I laughed when I saw that. Look, I get it. If I were competing against J.J. McCarthy, there would be buzz about the overnight side armor from Hayward rising up fantasy draft boards. But Murray was an enigma in his 7 years with the Cards, and it'll be interesting to see how long he's motivated with the Vikings. Also, the running backs aren't inspiring, and the defense is going to really miss Jonathan Grenard. Whether our author of this, Tafur, can hear this, feel this or not, give him a little negative comment. But you know what, Tennessee? It's hard to argue with that last paragraph. That's a great way to describe Murray. He has been an enigma. And how long until he seemed like he did get bored of the Cardinals. The running backs are uninspiring. We talked about that last segment, or maybe segment before. I mean, they both have talent, but I don't know how much Jones has left. As you stated, you thought, what's the kid's name again? From
Damon Claiborne? From San Francisco?
Yeah.
Jordan Mason. I think, I think most people were expecting much more from him. And they will miss Grenard, I think. Now, how much they miss him, I don't know. The thing with the defense is you do have, I've over the years sort of dismissed Beeflo. Not that he wasn't any good at what he did, but I just thought aggressive without being reckless, and he's so good, and he can do so many things in the blitzing. I thought, well, yeah, okay, But he does seem to work wonders with a defense. The system is the star.
Yeah, it is. I think you're right. And that's his system. And so... But
since he's got here, it's not like on defense he's been like, hey, we got to go out and get this guy to be my cornerback. We got to go out in free agency and get this guy. They just pluck him off the scrap heap a lot of the times.
Yeah. Just I'll cherry pick a couple of the others. He has Chiefs at over 10.5. He says all signs point to the Chiefs changing their offense and giving Kenny Ward all those carries he never got with the Seahawks.
Kenny Walker.
What did I say?
You said Ward.
Oh, I meant Walker.
Kenneth Walker.
it makes sense. The third, not Kenneth Walker, the first or the second, but the third. Makes sense with their star quarterback sporting a knee brace and their best receiver having just served 30 days in jail. There's still some talent here, and the Chiefs coaching staff is good enough to get them 11 wins in the playoffs. And, I guess maybe that's the way I feel. I believe too much in their quarterback, even though there is the knee brace. And I do. Andy Reid knows his stuff. But, you can't stay great forever. And, we've seen some signs that they certainly aren't the Chiefs of the last few years, right? When they were the dominant. I mean, how many division titles they win in a row? 7, 8, 9,
well, there were
10?
like 7 AFC championships in a row.
Right, yeah. NFC chair, exactly. So, that's all they do is win.
I feel like their competition in the division's a little tougher than it once was. The Superchargers with the other Harbaugh coaching seem to be going in the right direction. They're tough out. Denver had a great season last year. Good head coach. I don't know about Vegas yet, but they made a coaching change as well and a quarterback change. But that's going to be the hard part for KC is, you have 4 challenging games between the Superchargers and the Broncos every year.
Steelers over 8.5. He says, it's not the sexiest storyline, but the Steelers are shooting for their 20th straight non-losing season. That's pretty remarkable, is it not? But this time without Mike Tomlin. A-Raj decided he wanted to come back, and the Steelers aren't a serious organization, so they said, sure. Wow. I kind of like this guy.
How about they've topped 8.5 wins for 20 years in a row, and he says they're not a serious organization.
Yeah, that's true, too. There is enough defensive talent here, and I really like the addition of Michael Pittman Jr., so congrats to Pittsburgh. 9 wins, and they're irrelevant once again. Wow. Well, yeah, it's not your it's not your daddy's Steelers. He has Broncos under 9.5. Do you believe that too? Do you think that's a team that's?
I was just complimenting them, but I feel like last year was a little bit of fool's gold for them. I think Bo Nix has proven to be a competent quarterback. I'm still not sure he's a great quarterback. I'm still not sure the rest of the skill positions around him. And they just, they had a dominant defense and a good offensive line, and you can win with that. But at some point you get unlucky with a health standpoint, and you need some elite players to overcome some of that stuff, and I don't think they have it.
He writes, the Broncos have improved in each of their 3 seasons under Peyton and won 14 games last year, so this is quite a drop, especially after adding Jalen Waddle. What gives? People are banking on a slow start with quarterback Bo Nix coming back from ankle surgery in an opening slate of Chiefs, Jags, Rams, 49ers, Chargers, and Seahawks. That is that's a daunting schedule, Tennessee, so maybe the Broncos will take a step back. He likes the Texans at over 9.5. People underestimated the Texans every year, and I always cash the over. There are still questions about the offensive line and C.J. Stroud, sure. But the defense is nasty, and I think the acquisition of running back David Montgomery was one of the most underrated moves of the offseason. If you'll remember when the Lions got him, I loved it. There were some that thought that's not that big of a deal. I think they look at status, fantasy numbers. Does he score? Does he do this? Not every running back can be the scorer. Montgomery gets tough yards, hard yards. It was a nice change of pace in Detroit. I'd come up with a nickname for the 2 of them. I never did catch on. For him and Gibbs, I called them Sonic and Knuckles. And I thought that would catch on. But I guess it never did. But that's what I called him. So, yeah, I like Montgomery.
And Houston had 0 run game last year. I mean, they had to have been one of the worst teams in the league. And judging by the way C.J. Stroud played in the playoff game against the New England Patriots, they're going to need some running game help.
Yeah. So those are some of your over and under. Some text messages have come into the Bradshaw and Bryan KFAN text line. This one says, we won't run the ball until we call run plays. Well, we don't seem to call a lot of those. And that, coaches get reputations. And when you're a former quarterback, which O'Connell is, you like throwing the ball. And I think the average fan, you know me, Tennessee, I'm still a little old school. I like 3 yards in a cloud of dust, really strong defense. I don't mind seeing nice passing game, especially if it's with my club, whoever I'm rooting for that weekend. But I just think you fall in love with the pass game, and it's like, I don't know. I mean, it works, but I just, a balanced attack is just. That's why you want a balance. You want a run game. You want a pass game. You want a strong defense. If you have a good offensive line and defensive line, you're probably in pretty good shape. Just don't have a dud at quarterback. You don't even have to have the best quarterback in the league. We've seen that. The best quarterback in the league does not win the big game here. Sam Darnold's not the best quarterback in pro football. He's good, but he ain't the best. I don't know if anybody would rate him in the top 10, would you? I mean, he had top 10 numbers.
Knocking on the door, yeah.
Yeah, but he's knocking on the door, but you just wouldn't put him up there, and there he is. He has more big game wins than Joe Burrow, than Josh Allen, you name them. And again, it's a team game. We all understand that, but I just if your lines are good, especially if you can protect the quarterback, even we've said this before, Timmy, you give any pro quarterback, pretty much any quarterback, time to throw the ball, he can shred defenses. I mean, if you're standing back there and you don't have to worry about a pass rush, these guys all study the game. This one says, you guys need Barney glasses. I think he thinks because...
We should sell those at the fair.
We should. Oh, I like
Purple
that.
Glasses.
Brilliant. They would sell. He thinks because we said we think the Vikings, if a few things fell into place, they could contend. If the quarterback's brilliant, they'll contend. I really believe that. But I don't know if he's going to be brilliant, especially what the guy just spelled out there. You know, it's true. It's been an enigma. And, you know, is part of it. It's not even so much, put it this way, Tenneby, the Vikings playing well, for me, is it more because I want the Vikings to for my enjoyment, or there's more interest in the radio station when the Vikings play well, and that's better for me financially? I'm on B on that one, you know. I'd love him to be brilliant. Same thing. LeBron comes, there's more interest in it here. All that, you know. So, but yeah, it's difficult to see the Vikings. Doesn't mean you can't grab a wild card, right? That's why they have the wild cards. How many wild cards they got in the NFL now? Is it 4 or is it just 3?
3.
3. But you got 3 wild cards. So yeah, this one says, I didn't think Grenard was good last year, and I saw him get close to sacking the quarterback, but they got away, and every time they converted for a first down, pressure rate doesn't mean anything. If they convert, he won't be missed. I don't know. I mean,
I think Grenard's a quality player. I don't think he's a game breaker. So I think
that's why they didn't pay him the money.
He is replaceable. The problem you're going to get now is if, you know, last year you had kind of your safeguard of if one of them gets hurt, you had Dallas Turner in the wings. Now, as of right now, because they haven't picked up one in free agency, it's a drop-off after Dallas and Van Ginkel.
This one says, the Grom is a classic example of the system as the star. When Common's out, the 10 of Fitz applies the same no prep, low compete formula, and it just works. It is. It just works. It doesn't matter. And there's this one that says, glasses could have little yellow horns on the rims. I like that.
I think we should make them.
I think it's a brilliant idea.
And just, you know, you can talk about the Vikings, you'd be negative, and the second you put the glasses on, you start talking positive like you're Paul Allen. Yeah.
I love it. And I do like the little yellow horns on the rims. And especially if it's like, it's not just a picture of it on the, you know, on the rim like a stamp. It's actually, so the horn kind of sticks up over the top.
Sure.
That'd be great. And then there's this one. I'm on the edge of my seat to hear about Rosie's knee. And I think we all are. We're going to find out. He's been recuperating, doing the best that he can. He's got trainers and massage therapists and hot tubs and cold tubs and lukewarm tubs in an effort to try to get back up and running, or at least walking. And so he's going to join us next, Tenneby. The legendary one will not be in studio. You predicted it right. You said it'd be at least 4 weeks before he got back to studio. And this is week, 4 or 5, I think. But nonetheless, he's a trooper. He'll join us next. Mark Rosen joins Common and Tenby right around the corner on the Common Man program on the Fan.
Mark Rosen joins the Common Man.